The end trailer from last week's episode began with Richard standing over Barry's lifeless body inside the hospital morgue. And I'm going to talk more specifically about this in a separate video, but Barry is as dead as a doorknob, y'all. And I know that there's been a lot of speculation going around the internet about him not being dead for real. But I mentioned this in the last video, that if that wasn't Barry in his bed, then Kareem would have recognized this when they rolled him up inside of that rug. Okay, now the officer asks Richard, is that him? And Richard has to compose himself, the best that he can. And I'm sure that we're going to get his full reaction next Tuesday night. And in another short trailer that they've already published is we see him calling Priscilla, getting her up to speed on what's going on with Nancy. And I'm sure he's going to also tell him about what has gone on with Barry too, right? Then we see Alonzo explaining to Donald what happened with the dope and how the president overdosed. And in reality, it's not that he overdosed on the cocoa. I'm almost sure at this point that Hunter knows exactly how much of it to take, but what has him on his back is the fentanyl that the coke was laced with. And you can't take too much of that like you can coke. I don't guess. Well, you can't take too much coke either, but according to Cuz, too much of the fentanyl will kill you. So Alonzo is explaining what happened, and Donald asks him, are you saying that Alan did this? And Alonzo has to play dumb, like he don't know what's really happening, and he really don't for real. He was just supposed to pick up the dope and give it to Hunter. That's it, and that's all. And now all of this is at his front door. Can you imagine being right in the middle of the drama of this magnitude? And what's troubling to me is that Victoria and Donald told him not to give him any more dope, but Hunter insisted on Alonzo getting it for him. He went to the pharmacy, held Dale at gunpoint. Why? We still don't know. Then he stole some of the dope that he took from Dale. Why? We still don't know. To now Hunter being half dead in the makeshift White House hospital room, and he's being blamed for it. So Donald is asking and Alonzo is snitching because Donald asks if Alan mixed the fentanyl with the dope. And no, Alan didn't actually mix it himself, but he requested to have the coke laced with fentanyl to get back at Hunter for degrading him, for putting him down, effing his woman, and eventually being the sole cause of Ellie being murdered. Well, a co-conspirator along with his demonic wife, Victoria, unknowingly. I mean, Hunter would never want to get rid of his brown side pieces, right? His son got rid of Denise, and Victoria got rid of Ellie, but not Hunter. He's never on the other end. After all, he wants to keep the brown meat coming, so to speak. So Alan wanted to get back at him, and this is why things are turning upside down in the White House and spiraling out of control. And now Alan is in jail defending himself with a pillow against the cartel because they think that he stole their dope, when in fact it was Alonzo who stole it and hid it somewhere. Is this enough to make him talk now and tell the guy that he didn't do it? He needs to say something because his bunkie has already told him that it's time to say nighty-night. He told Alan that it's either him or his family. And he ain't choosing to keep Alan alive over his family, so he got to make that knife do what it do. And Hunter has no earthly idea what has happened, guys, because the doctor has to literally tell him that he overdosed. And while he's recovering or trying to recover from it all, Eli done took over the presidency, took over his wife and his bed. He wanted Hunter's life so bad, and now he has it all. Or does he? Now, in last week's episode, Eli said something that's critical, and I'm going to elaborate in a different video, but his reply to Bobby Baby is very telling because when Victoria told Simone that her demise was all Eli's idea, I thought she was just lying. But these were his exact words to Bobby Baby when he asks if he should secure his wife. He said, "Oh, she's okay. She's away with our children." But he knew full well that she was in the bunker because Victoria told him that she was. I told you guys, I think that this season is going to be explosive. I feel the characters are growing in a whole other direction. It's a quick growth, but nonetheless, they are evolving to angry, greedy, backstabbing personalities, right? So next Tuesday, I'm sure it's going to have us on the edge of our seats. It's going to be very telling. So stay tuned for my next video as I tell y'all about Nancy's lying ass.